Last Letter Films was the result of a 4-hour lab session. We were really focused on the importance of communication and creating bonds with the people that we meet in Puerto Rico. So Freddie said last letter, and then we all started screaming. And then we said last letter was the word we wanted to use to describe it, because we wanted this to be the end of just words, and we wanted something to actually change. We wanted this to be the start of action and the end of words.
We're responsible for planning and thinking out the vision of the film stylistically, visuals, music, the content, storytelling wise, kind of leading the team and managing all of the different aspects of what the film is going to look like when you see it on the screen.
It's a learning process for all of us. We're doing it for the first time.
As a producer, me and Sophia and our other producers kind of oversee all of the logistical things that go into making a documentary, just doing all the behind the scene work so that our crew doesn't have to stress out while actually on set.
I think my favorite part about being a cinematographer is being a visual storyteller with using the camera.
Yeah, I would just say just capturing the little moments that not everyone necessarily sees, just keeping your eyes open and just getting that awesome moment that you don't always expect.
The biggest challenge is part of being an editor, and it feels like the whole doc team is working together to put a jigsaw puzzle without the instructions.
As multimedia directors, we capture a lot of the behind-the-scenes content.
I think it's super cool to be on this team because we have lots of flexibility, lots of fun. Anything that doesn't go in the actual film, we get to do what we want with, basically. So we'll post weekly Instagram interviews, focusing on a specific person we got to meet in Puerto Rico or on a topic in general. And we've also had the opportunity to go into Philly and interview people at 2 different community centers in the Puerto Rican sector of the city.
I think when I got the position of writer, I was like, what are we writing? They say everything themselves, but when we got back from Puerto Rico, it was just this huge job of oh my gosh, we have all these amazing things, now let's make it into a story.
We should be called the story team instead of the writer team, because we basically map out the story in ways that it'll make sense and frame it in a way that it will have the most impact.
This is also a distinctive, specialized story where they're focusing on a forgotten community of Afro-Puerto Ricans, Afro-Latinos in the Caribbean culture, where it's kind of similar to where the United States, how Black Americans are also marginalized as well and also have been forgotten about.
Yeah, I think it's really important that the film and what we've been working on in terms of the story and writing it is being able to recognize the intersectionality between being Black and being part of this community in the Caribbean that isn't really recognized for its true self. It's really seen only as a place that's violent or its negative attributes, when in reality it's a place that has so much more to bring.
This trip was unlike anything I've ever done before. It was just being thrown into boot camp and be yeah, figure it out.
My favorite part about this class was specifically going to Puerto Rico and meeting all of our amazing collaborators, specifically Modesta. I feel like everyone was so special, but getting to hang out with Modesta and learn her story and what she does with her community was really impactful personally for me. Even though we spoke different languages and couldn't really understand each other, we made it work through Google Translate and just emotion in our voices.
It felt like 4 years had gone by the time we finished in Puerto Rico. Throughout the process of talking to them, you start to realize that they're more important than the documentary itself. And personally for me, I bawled my eyes out one night just realizing how important their lives are beyond interviews and getting to know them for 2 weeks.
I really like the people there, so welcoming to all of us. They give us every one of us a hug. That's not that I have in my culture, and I think that's very special.
Some of my favorites were just every time we got to see Bomba, every performance we went to, that was so fun. So any time that we actually got to witness and be a part of the crowd at a Bomba show was the best. And then towards the end of the trip,
we actually got to like try it out and we got to dance and I got to put on one of the skirts. That was like my favorite part. That was so exciting.
So one of the days we went to the Sector 23 Community Center, and I realized on this day that I failed to notice the little things that people do for us. I saw that this woman was cooking lunch for our group of 23 people in this giant pot, and she was just silently doing this for hours while we were there. And I just think that that was so special, the fact that she welcomed all of us into her space.
I would say the best day of the trip was hands down that second to last day when we went to El Yunque in the morning and we talked with Mark and Elsa about like the significance of, you know, the area and the roots that come from it. And like once we heard them say the word roots on their own, we were just freaking out, which was amazing. So we were like, oh my God, that's our motif. This is great.
So another thing that I learned on the ground was be on time. The crew waits for no man. There was one night, I was also an equipment manager, so one night I was putting equipment away in the hotel and I got a text from Andy Cowan saying, get down here, the bus is leaving. I was like, oh, I have like 2 minutes, they'll wait. Like, I'm in the elevator now, it's fine. That was not fine. I get there, the bus is gone, and my fight or flight kicks in, I guess. I was like, well, it can't be far, and it's a one-way street. So I just start running through the streets of Puerto Rico, and I caught the bus, fully out of breath. Everyone on the bus was so shocked that I was getting on the bus, especially the bus driver. He was like, what are you doing here? I was like, hello.
And being on the ground, it was definitely tiring. We were getting like 3-4 hours of sleep on our feet for like 12 hours or more a day. But it was all worth it, and every part of the day was so special. Like from the time we woke up, we went onto the bus, a new adventure every single day, and then we ended all together in our hotel rooms, really just like bonding and getting excited for the next day.
So Molly and I were roommates when we were on the trip, and at the time I was still a multimedia director, and at the time she was a cinematographer, so we were still working very closely together, but not like as tight as we are now. Where now, since we've come back, I text Molly every day, all day, about everything.
All day, every day, the texts are blowing up.
Yeah, so me and Molly have really become like this.
Mm-hmm.
You see how close like every classmate has gotten to each other, which like truly is special. Coming into the class, I did not know too many people, and now like I could call these people my best friends, which is awesome.
I remember one time a bunch of us went over to Jaden's house and Mia made us dumplings, and that was kind of like just a really cool experience. And just like that definitely like helped me get closer to a lot of people in the class.
So that day was a traditional Chinese festival that made a lot of rice balls for a lot of people in our class, and we really enjoyed that. That's a traditional festival for like family reunion, so I think that means a lot for me, and especially I'm an international student. I can meet my family back in China for a long time, but I really find my family here.
This program helps us make sustainable relationships with the people whose stories we're telling. So it's more than just storytelling, it's about creating relationships and impacts that are going to last way longer than the film will.
Thinking back to the people who we met in Puerto Rico is what helps me keep going when, you know, I'm tired or I'm stressed and I feel like there's so much to do.
We are dealing with other people's lives, and like it's not about us. Like it is about them and getting their story like out there to the world.
This has definitely been the biggest growing experience of my life, and in the beginning of the year, as you said, like you can't grow without discomfort, and that's definitely very true.
Sometimes it's painful, it really is, and you learn things about yourself that you aren't always comfortable with, but it's so important to learn those things, and I feel like that's been the greatest part of this class for me so far.
This class is way harder than I thought it was gonna be. Like, more emotionally and mentally, like, it's not like you're studying for hours, it's like you're contemplating your entire life and your entire existence, and you're like, who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? So, yeah, I did not expect. I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna grow and like, you know, be a different person, but like, goddamn.
First week back, we were all like, as a class, we were so lost. Like we didn't want to talk to our friends. We didn't know how to explain to people what happened on the trip. People thought it was a vacation. I'm like, dude, you don't even know. You don't even know.
This experience has completely defined who I am as a person, I think. The person that I was before I started doing social doc is totally different than the person I am now. And the person I am now is exactly who I want to be. So in a way you could say this experience made me be the best version of myself.
I think doc kind of has like a mesh of all different types of people, and like you mature just by being around those people and like learning from their experiences and like then becoming friends with them, and that just like makes you grow as a human. And I think this whole class is like made me mature and grown up like so much more, which is awesome.
Yeah, I would say for me, how being in the doc class like really shaped my experience or changed my experience would definitely be just like how I see myself as a person. Just because like I'm a black woman in America, and over there they're black as well, but they have such strong culture over there, and I feel kind of like envious about that a little bit, just because I'm not sure where my culture comes from.
I've had, I feel like, a little bit more of a connection to the film, just because I feel like when I see that, I see my family, I see my country. Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic are pretty similar in a lot of ways, including this idea of music as a form of culture and as a way to retain the African roots. So I've really been cherishing a lot of that.
I would say before this class, I wasn't super educated on many social justice issues at all. And being able to work with people who are more educated than I am on these problems has been super impactful for me, and I've learned so much along the way.
Kind of the same way. I mean, it's all well and good to talk about issues that affect large amounts of people, social issues, racial issues, whatever it may be. And certainly I've had these discussions in classes and done projects on them, but to actually see the broader impact and the people that we're connecting with through this process has been amazing. It impacted me because I didn't realize that there could be such a broad impact just from a student film class, but there is, and that's kind of amazing.
I think anyone who is who wants to take this experience, I think you should, because it is life-changing. Even if you're not wanting to do documentaries in your future, or that's not where you see your life going, it's not just about creating other documentaries.
Me learning about all the different problems that go on in Louisa and the rest of Puerto Rico, and it just opened my eyes up for what the world has, and it shows me how important it is to care about other people and what's going on in other countries.
I think that's definitely like, out of all the amazing opportunities that we have in this class, in this program, the initiative is like the most special part, and I think it really sets our program apart because, you know, like the life of this film is going to last a very long time, but the impact of the initiative is going to go even beyond that.
So our initiative is to build a park of life for a community center down in Louisa. It's for Centro Comunal 23, and we are hoping to build this park right across from a graveyard in Louisa where 90% of the graves are youths due to generational violence.
Like, this film isn't for us to like send it out to festivals or get a big name or a big trophy or anything like that, but more for the people who are in the documentary, but also people who live lives similar to the people in the documentary, to empower them and like to give them a platform to amplify that voice.
Sure.
I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, no, keep going. Oh,
You're good.
No, keep going. Biggest fear.
Guns. Caleb and Hezzy.
Hi, my name. What?
It feels like a dream. Like, it's like I can barely see you guys, and it's just like blurry. All right, sorry.
That was better.
Yeah, that was better.
I think the word reflection will forever be a trigger word. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Brandon Slater, what are we, my bad. What was I supposed to say?
And I'm trying to get sounds from an active chicken. Cut!
Cool.